Hello, my dears. It's Katie, and I'm here today to do the Heart Eyes Trope tag. I was tagged by Vendi from Caught Between Pages ages ago to do this, and I've just been putting it off for some reason. And I'm finally getting around to doing it. But the way that I'm going to do this tag is a little bit different. I'm not only going to make it about books, I'm also going to intersperse in some movies and TV shows as well, because some of the prompts I haven't read a ton of books from that genre and I just couldn't think of anything for, so I'm interspersing movies and TV shows as well. I could theoretically only do TV shows or movies because most of my ships and tropes that I enjoy show up in those mediums rather than books. But I think I've managed to figure out things for each. So let's just see how this goes and let's get into it. Number one, found family. No. Number one, found family. Name a book where a group of unrelated characters of varying backgrounds consider each other a family. There are a couple of different things I could go with this. I could go with a show, but I could also go with the book. But I think I'm just going to go with the book, and it should come as no surprise to anyone of what I'm going to pick, because I'm pretty sure everyone picks it for this. But I'm picking The Six of Crows duology by Leigh Bardugo. The six crows in that book are very much a found family. They all come from different backgrounds and have had different experiences, and they somehow manage to make this friendship, found family thing work. And it's just kind of probably like the example on a lot of booktube channels these days. When they talk about found families, oftentimes people talk about Six of Crows. So I figured, why not jump aboard that bandwagon? And even though I didn't love Six of Crows as much as everyone else seems to, I can definitely see how people would enjoy it. Number two. No, okay. Number two, It's Always Been You. Name a book where two characters have always had a relationship that you would consider inevitable. There are a lot of characters I can think of for this trope, because a lot of the ships I do ship are, quote, mainstream, and you kind of always know from the beginning of the book or the show that they're going to get together. But I gotta go back to my OG couple and talk about Booth and Brennan from the TV show Bones. Those, god damn it, those characters and that show is and was my everything for so long, and Booth and Brennan were like the linchpin. They were the center, and the center must hold. Sorry, falling back into my my Bones squeeing days, but just from the get-go, like, you knew that they were going to get together from the very beginning, and you had to sit through agonizing season after season of them not getting together. But then when they do get together, it was just, it was great. It was great. It was everything I wanted, but like also it was completely inevitable. Like, completely. You knew it from the very beginning. So I was a fan. Of course I was. So they're the ones that I'm going with for this specific trope. 3. Forced proximity. Name a book where two characters who loathe, can't stand each other, are forced to share a bed, a home, the same space, or one where the characters who can't stand the other are forced into working together. Who did I pick for this? Oh, yeah. An example of this, and I don't know if it's happened in the books because I haven't read them yet, and I don't know if I'm going to, but it happened in the show, and that is Sansa and Daenerys from Game of Thrones. They hate each other. They hate each other, and they are forced to be in close proximity with each other and work together for a common goal, but they literally cannot stand each other's guts. And yeah, I mean, I'm just completely turning this trope on its head by not talking about romantic-y things, but like friendships and other relationships totally work for this too, because I definitely know and can think of like familial and friendships that also fit this. But Dany and Sansa just fit so perfectly for this question that I kind of had to include it. Number number 4, fake dating. Name a book with characters who are forced to pretend to date each other. Well, I guess technically Althea and Brashen from The Realm of the Elderlings fit this question because there was a situation in one of the books where they were going to disembark their ship, and it would be safer for Althea if she were married or in a relationship with someone. And so there's like a brief moment of fake dating between them to like make it safer for her, kind of a thing. Not that she needed it in any way, shape, or form, but they both liked each other a lot and they were willing to put up this charade for a period of time to for the greater good, kind of a thing. And I mean, it's kind of complicated because their relationship is complicated, but a lot of it can be summed up with the fake dating, at least in part. They're not the prime example of fake dating, but it's not a trope that I find a lot in the books that I'm reading for some reason. Probably because I read a lot of fantasy and there's not a lot of fake dating in at least the fantasy that I've read. So yeah, that's the one I'm going with, even though it's not the best example for it. Number 5, Grumpy Hearts Soft. Name a book where a grumpy character is soft for the sunshine character. Can we talk about The Lord of the Rings for a second? And can we talk about Gandalf and Pippin for a second? Or Gandalf and any hobbit? Gandalf is grumpy sometimes. Like, he is old and he's seen a lot of shit in his life. And just dealing with hobbits in particular, and particularly Merry and Pippin, the two troublemakers that they are, he is so soft for them, even though he's like, I cannot deal with you and your messes right now. He loves them so much. And it just makes my heart so incredibly happy to read and experience that relationship in whatever form you want to give it to me, whether it's the movies, the books, the old animated series. Like, it is present all the time. And I love it. But like, even The Hobbit too, because Gandalf dealing with Bilbo's shenanigans, like, I swear he was going to just curl up and die. I mean, he's probably half the reason Gandalf up and left for the majority of the book. I mean, we know it's not from the little paragraph at the end, but like, come on. He totally left because he was like, I cannot deal with this right now. I don't know how to handle this creature. So I'm gonna peace out. But then he came back because he's just like, you know what? I love this soft creature. Okay, now shut up. So yeah, Gandalf and hobbits, just period. It's just perfect and I love it so much. Number 6, Enemies to Lovers. A book where two characters start off hating each other and eventually fall in love. Have I talked about Red, White, and Royal Blue recently? Honestly, that book can fit a couple of these prompts, but I mean, it is marketed as an enemies to lovers book. And even though I would argue that it's not fully that, it is that enough. Alex really hates Henry for a reason or two, and just does not like him. Like, a lot of people call them rivals and arch enemies and things of that sort. And yeah, it's a hot mess. They are a hot mess, but I adore them with my entire soul, my entire being, my entire everything. Ugh. If you haven't read that book yet, I'd highly, highly recommend it. And then please come scream with me. Please. But yeah, they are an enemies to lovers because that is exactly what happens. They hate each other, then they fall in love. And that's it. Great. Number 7. Opposites Attract, a book with two people of contrasting backgrounds or beliefs or circumstances fall in love with each other. This one was difficult because there are a lot of different people and couples and friendships and whatever that I can see that fit this, but the one that I'm gonna go with is just the Heart of All Worlds trilogy, period, because that is very much a very core part of that book or that trilogy, because Breeden and Ceres definitely come from different backgrounds. Breeden is a boy, a human, and he was raised in Villelu, and that they have their own religion and their own politics and their own, like, very narrow-minded ways of thinking. And then there's Ceres, who was born in the fairylands and is basically royalty and was taught to believe and act a certain way based on his based on his kind of rank or caste, and just looks down on humans, hates humans, etc., until he goes through the experiences that he does, and then the two of them actually fall in love. And part of the reason is their differences. Like, their differences are central to who they are, but they make their love stronger. And I just love that about them. I mean, I know a lot of people who probably wouldn't like it because of how much sex there is in it. But it is a really, but it is more, no, but there is more to it than that. And if you're able to look beyond all of that and get to the core of what the book is all about, or what the trilogy is all about, you'll really start to see that. And I mean, there is another couple in the second book that we really start to get to know, Tash and Fude, who also have a similar situation. Fude is king, royalty, great, and Tash is of the common caste. He's a commoner, so there's that, commoner royalty trope thing going on, which I also like, but their backgrounds are also vastly different than what probably a lot of people would expect. Next is The Chosen One. Name a character that has to save the world, country, empire. So this trope is literally everywhere, but I figured I'd go with a more well-known one just to throw it out there, and that's Harry Potter. Harry Potter literally is the chosen one. He has to save the world from Voldemort, from evil, basically. Yeah, not much more to it than that. But he is kind of like the OG chosen one. No, he's not. He's not, but he made the chosen one popular, shall we say. But also, I would also disagree with that too, because, Frodo is also a chosen one, and I don't know. Anyway, Frodo's a chosen one. Fitz is a chosen one in a way. Um, as I said, Harry is a chosen one. I mean, like, pretty much every book these days has a chosen one. So, like, literally just pick a book. And there you go. Number 9, Genderbender. Name a book where a gender bend spin is given to a traditional tale. And I can't help but talk about A Study in Charlotte, which I read earlier this year. It's a gender bent retelling of Sherlock Holmes. Didn't like it very much, but it takes the traditional Sherlock Holmes story narrative, plops it into current day, makes Sherlock a woman, and there you go. But yeah, it's not the greatest retelling. In fact, I didn't like it. I've already said that. I'll say it again and again and again. I didn't like it. But it does do that. Take a traditional, well-known tale and turn it on its head just slightly. Number 9, hurt equals true feelings. Name a book where one character gets badly injured or hurt, thus causing another character who all this while has been pretending not to be interested in the first character, then loses their mind when this injury / almost death occurs. I can think of a few that meets this requirement. Can't I? Yeah. I can think of a few scenarios where this comes up. I'm going to briefly mention 3. I don't have one in particular in mind. First example is Kaz and Inej from Six of Crows duology. There's a situation where Inej has a severe injury, Kaz loses his mind, and that's it. Second example is Hodgins and Angela from Bones. Hodgins gets buried alive. Angela is really upset about it, and it's fine, you know. That's kind of what is the catalyst for, at one point or in time, for their relationship. And then there's, of course, Fitz and the Fool. I'm not going to talk about that, though. I'm not going to talk about that because I'm not going to talk about that. But the problem is, like, Realm of the Elderlings, like, fits all of these in some fashion or another. Like, when Vendi was doing this, she was talking about how Truthwitch fits all of these. Well, I'm telling you, Realm of the Elderlings fits all of these too. So I'm just like, y'all, here we are. Welcome to my life. But yeah, those 3 examples should suffice for, this specific trope. Next up, 11. Next up, 11. AI is a crapshoot. A book where robots, sentient computers, or other forms of artificial intelligence go haywire and betray their creators. I don't read a lot of books with AI. I have very complex relationships with sci-fi. I'm working on it. I am getting there slowly. So instead of a book, even though I can think of one that I haven't read, don't plan on reading it because it just, something about it doesn't sit right with me. Probably the format of it, talking about the Illuminati files. I struggle with multimedia things and just, it's the visual spatial issues of mine. It's a thing. It's why I struggle with graphic novels a lot. But I'm going to talk about a movie, and we're going to talk about 2001: A Space Odyssey, because Dave, like, hi Hal, which is also reminiscent of IBM, in case you didn't know. When it was being created, Hal was 1 letter off from IBM. Fun fact. But anyway, Hal literally took over the ship and almost killed Dave. Or did he kill Dave? I don't remember. It's been a long time since I saw that movie. But Hal is one creepy dude. AI, creature, creation thingy. So yeah, not a fan of Hal. But anyway, Cheers. Hopefully I can manage to find an AI like character that I don't hate at some point or another. Cheers. Well, I don't hate AI characters, but like sci-fi. Yeah, okay. 12. Draco in leather pants. Name a villain we're sympathetic to because they're super hot. Who did I pick for this one? Yes. Yes. I don't want to call him a villain though. It's a struggle. Okay, so 12. Draco and leather. 12. Draco and leather pants. Name a villain we're sympathetic to because they're super hot. So I hesitate to call him a villain because he's just morally gray. But I'm going to talk about Morozko from the Winter Night trilogy by Catherine Arden. Morozko is... he's basically like a Jack Frost type character, but he's also death, at least in the portrayal that Catherine Arden did. And by being death, he basically reaps people when their time is up. And Vasya can see him doing this, and it really bothers her, and she doesn't like it. So, I mean, like, an example, for instance, is with her sister's pregnancy in the second book, and he has to choose a life between the two of them. Vasya convinces him to do one thing over another and whatnot, and it just causes a lot of tension. So, I mean, like, his decisions and his choices and just who he is a difficult thing for normal people to understand. I mean, there's also just the difference between the old religion and the new religion, and Morozko is part of the old religion, and just it's a really complicated relationship. So like, I don't want to say he's evil, but like, also he is described as a very attractive spirit. Like, I would date him. He is one of my book boyfriends. I am just garbage for the hot, brooding, like, spirit deathy love interest. Like, why am I like this? Why am I like this? Because, I mean, like, another example is Anubis from the King Chronicles. Same thing, like, hot, attractive, but the god of funerals, god of death. Like, it's... people don't like him, and it just hurts. Okay, now I'm garbage for characters like that, even though they are like evil bad guy, but they're hot. Like, I can't do it. I have a feeling a lot of people would say the Darkling for this question. I don't give a shit about the Darkling one way or another. I just, they honestly, Lee Bardugo ruined what could have been a really great character. But I no longer care about him because she just ruined him in 0.5 seconds. So, he's not hot, and I don't care. But I have a feeling a lot of people will pick that as a choice. But I'm sticking with my boy Morozko because, yes, please. Number 14. Evil Mastermind. No, sorry. Number 13, Fallen Hero. Name a heroic character that becomes a villain due to tragic circumstances. I can also think of quite a few people for this question, but I'm going to pick Nico from the Percy Jackson and the Olympian series. Poor Nico. He becomes evil because, or like evil, brooding, angsty character. I mean, we know I like this kind of character at this point. Did you not hear the last question? But he becomes this like brooding, angsty, angry character due to tragic circumstances. And yet, he's my small soft bean, and I enjoy his character very much. So yeah, great time. Next up, 14, Evil Mastermind. Name a highly intelligent villain who always stays several steps ahead of the hero. Where did I pick for this? I can pick two characters for this. One is Palant from Bones, because Palant is a human piece of garbage. He's a hacker and he does terrible, terrible things, and it took like forever for them to catch and kill him. Like, it was a ridiculous amount of time, and I hate him as a villain so much. But another character is the servants from the realm of the Elderlings. I'm not going to say too much about them because they're huge spoilers. But yeah, the four and the servants. If you've read the entire series, you know what I'm talking about. But there are people who watch this channel who have not even started or are not very far along, and I'm not spoiling much for you guys. So, bear with me. Just, if you've read it, you know what I mean. You know what I mean. The amount of stuff that those people did is just... Ugh. We're not talking about it. Nope. Number 15. Nicknames. Name a book where characters call each other by their nicknames until an emotional or dangerous scene when they use their real name. Once again, I can think of a couple of characters for this. Once again, Bones. Because, Brennan's nickname is Bones. Her actual name is Temperance, and Booth only calls her Temperance or Brennan in certain situations, but not very often. But another example of this is in the Atlantis Grail series. Oh yeah, great. The main character, Gwen, gets called Lark by one of her, well, I guess by her main love interest. You know what, forget it. The main character of that series, Gwen Lark, gets called Lark by her commanding officer, the guy thing, Asen. He always calls her Lark until there are, except for in very specific instances, he calls her Gwen. It's not a very common thing until much later in the series. But yeah, he always calls her Lark or some other nickname. She always gets called a nickname by somebody, but she's really only called Lark for the most part by Asen. And so that is an example. And I don't think he actually calls her Gwen until like later on in Compete, which is the second book. And even then, it's only, I think, like twice. Yeah, once at the dance and then once in that, whatever the hell that awkward as fuck situation was. I cannot even deal. Okay, great. Yeah. Anyway, yeah. And then we got to talk about the last question, which is a bonus trope, which is you can pick a random trope of your choosing and talk about a character that fits. And for this one, I'm going to talk about, I guess we'll call them like soulmates, but it's not quite that. Okay, telepathic, physical, emotional bond. Oh, no, that's spoiling it. Okay, we're going to call it soulmates, even though it's not quite that. And I got to talk about the realm of the Elderlings again. I hesitate to tell you who the characters are, but you probably already know based off how much I talk about the series. Fine. Just, I won't say anything beyond the fact that Fitz and the Fool. Yeah. Okay. Blah. And then 16 is a bonus trope where you just pick a trope and then you talk about the characters that you associate with that trope. And I'm going to choose soulmates or mutual pining or slow burn. All of those things wrapped up into one thing because they can all fit most of the couples that I actually ship on any given day, whether it's John Locke or the ineffable husbands or Fits in a Fool. just just literally every couple that I ship, like two tropes in particular can fit, and that is Slow Burn and Mutual Pining. Like, I swear, I am just trash for those tropes. But seriously, you want to add in Soulmates? Let's talk about Fits in the Fool for a sec. I'm not going to talk about them, but I'm going to talk about them by saying their names. Read the books. If you like any of the things that I mentioned today, you know, the hurt, then feelings reveal, or mutual pining, or slow burn, soulmates. Like, if you like any of those things, read The Realm of the Elderlings. I swear to God. I'm still in the middle of Assassin's Apprentice right now as I'm making this video. And just even thinking about some of the things that I have reread makes me so goddamn emotional. It is a lot. It's a lot, and I am gonna try and stop talking about it so I don't elaborate on anything or like literally cry on the screen, but like too late. But yeah, that just their relationship is like my everything, and I mean my everything. They're so incredibly important to me. And I can't wait to keep rereading the series with Vendi. And whoever wants to join in, seriously, feel free. Because even if I'm reading one book with her, I will gladly go back and read the very first one again with anyone who hasn't and wants a buddy. So yeah. Fits in the Fool. I can't. Anyway, I tried to be as varied as I could with this tag. I don't think I did a very good job because I think I primarily talked about like 2 or 3 different books or series, but I think I got a few things in here or there. But I hope you enjoyed it regardless. I'm sure that as soon as I turn off the camera, that I will think of 1,000 others that could fit this trope or fit these tropes or these prompts or whatever. But alas, that is not always the case while I am filming. But anyway, I hope you guys enjoyed, and I'm either maybe going to tag people down below or just do a general, like, I tag you if you want to do it, because I think a lot of people have done this at this point, or a lot of people that I would say, like, you should do this have done this, but actually, you know what? I'm going to tag 2 people to do this. I'm going to tag Cara from Wild Book Garden. I think she would have a really, really great time doing this, especially since I just watched your Rip It or Ship It book tag with the Shakespeare edition. Like, that was great. I think you could do a really phenomenal job with this tag. So I'm going to tag you. And I'm also going to tag Hannah from Snow White Reader. Hannah, do your thing. Make a skit out of it. I don't care. Like, this would be incredible. Just do it. It would be a blast to watch. I can't wait to see whatever you do with it if you decide to do it. And then I also tag whoever else wants to do this. I tag you. But anyway, you guys know the drill. I have all of my social media links down below in the description. I have a Twitter, which is @ASeaOfTomes, which is the same as my handle here. And I also have my Goodreads page linked down below for you guys to go and check out if you're interested. And in the light of this tag, I also have my Ships and Fandoms page linked down below if you guys are interested to know who some of the people I like are, whether they're my OTP of all OTPs or in just my general superficial ship list. It's all down there. And other than that, I'll catch you later in another video for you guys again soon. Bye!